So Max, take us through you getting banged up and the process of you getting back on the field and what it was like just kind of grinding through that in the second half.
I think at first when it happens, the pain was there, but after, say hitting the sideline and going to see like the trainers and things like that, I felt better and I felt like I can go back in. So that's just what I did.
And then while you were on the sidelines, Myron Robinson got in the game and made some plays. What's it been like to see him mature as a freshman and be able to make some plays in a big time game like that?
It was great. I love seeing Myron play, and to be honest, I always knew what he could do, so it was just fun to see him display it at a critical moment in the game.
Tristan, you guys were struggling on offense for a good portion of that game against Kansas, and then you had the breakthrough on the last drive. What did it feel like when those two runs by Quincy sprung open, including the second one for a touchdown?
Yeah, I think Quincy did a great job just being patient, reading it, hitting it. There was some stuff that we felt like we were leaving on the table on some of those drives earlier. So obviously, great to put it together, clean it all up, and then come out with a win.
Max, in terms of the second half defense, you guys held Kansas to 3 points. Just the defensive effort from the first half to the second half. Would you say that that's maybe some of the best defense you guys have played all season? That half.
I would agree with that. Coming out the locker room, we just in our heads like if we don't let them score, like the whole thing's keep them out the end zone. So like that's the main thing. Every time we went on the defense, we were keeping them out the end zone. No matter what happens, keep them out the end zone. Like they can make a big play, keep them out the end zone. So I think that's some pretty good defense that we played, and just want to continue to do that now that that's displayable.
Tristan, Matthew Lotto getting slotted in with Buchanan coming out. Just your thoughts on his play and how he was able to progress throughout that game.
Yeah, I think Lotto did an excellent job. The whole team has a world of confidence in him. Ty has been great for us, but when we found out that he wasn't going to be able to go, there was no worry in the locker room. Lotto does a great job every day in practice, and so I was super happy for him to see him run with that opportunity and play as well as he did.
Right. Tristan, what do you think has been the key for you this season, going from all those years where you really weren't getting that opportunity and then maybe struggling a little bit in the spring to get to where you are now, to where you've held down that tackle spot?
Yeah, I think the two biggest things would probably be the guys around me. We have a great cohesive unit. We really embody 5 as one. Everybody's working together to a common goal. And then I would say the coaching, the staff here has done a really good job for me, from Coach O, just helping me build my technique up as well as just build my confidence in myself as a player. And I think those two things have really helped me to develop.
That first game against Hawaii, it looks like you were hit with a lot of hurries and all that. Was that maybe like, oh my gosh, this, I have to learn from this kind of game?
Yeah, I think every game you got something to learn from. That was my first career start, so little bit of like getting your feet wet type of moment. But I think for me that game was really just I don't want to let that happen again, and be somebody that can be counted on for our offense. So that's always the goal, to take any mistakes from any game and get better and move forward. We're continuing to do that as we go.
So Tristan, you guys are going to Cincinnati. You're very familiar with that part of the country. What's it like growing up in the Midwest? How would you describe the football culture in that part of the U.S.?
Yeah, Midwest football is definitely important to people, but it's important out here too. I don't think where you live makes football any more special, and I'm just excited for us to go down there as a team and take full advantage of our opportunities.
And then Max, since you're a veteran and you've seen a lot in college football, do you mentor some of the younger players, and how would you describe just the relationship that you've been able to build with a guy like Myron?
I think that yes, I mentor the younger guys, and Myron's very mature. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think he takes coaching well from anybody. I think he learns from everybody in the room, and so do all the younger guys on the team. I think everybody that's in a leadership role is pretty good at mentoring to everybody. So.
And then what have you learned as a defensive unit about big mobile quarterbacks. And what do you take from those experiences and how do you apply that for this game?
Big mobile quarterbacks, I mean, just means that you got to be really assignment sound with everything because they'll take advantage of it if you don't. So I think that's all I've really learned is being assignment sound in everything that you do and everything that we do, and that's what we're going to apply to. That's how we're going to apply it to this game.
Tristan, you obviously have no control over what plays are called, but as an offensive lineman, in general, in a vacuum, would you prefer to run block or pass block?
I mean, I don't know. There's so much that plays into that, just, with the situations that go on in football. But in all honesty, I'd say it's probably a split. If it's 3rd and 1, yeah, I'd rather run the ball. But that's situational football. So whatever the call comes in, we always have faith in the call and just trying to execute it to the best of our ability.
So a question for both. Just looking at Cincinnati, what are some of the challenges that they present to you guys on your side of the ball?
I guess you could say they play hard. They're a good team, so every challenge, like everybody that plays hard and, they have a good scheme, good this, but we also have the same thing. So the challenge is us just executing and doing our own thing, doing what we know we can do.
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same thing. Every week it's a different team, but, for us, we're just trying to focus on doing what we do the best that we can do. And we believe as a team that if we play our brand of football with great execution, effort, accountability, stay to red line, things are going to be okay. Results are going to be what we want.
I guess another question for both of you guys. Now that, you're bowl eligible, Coach Brennan said that, he wants to maximize the season. How do you guys just look at just kind of what's ahead for you guys and how you guys are going to improve?
For me, the bowl eligibility it doesn't stop me from playing week by week. At the end of the day, my goal is to win every single week. So, yes, we made it to a bowl. That's great. But, now my focus is on, winning the next game. And then it'll be the same thing next week and the week after that.
For Max, are there things that you could take out of the BYU and Houston games, things that the defense maybe didn't do as well as you had hoped against big mobile quarterbacks that you can apply to this upcoming game against Cincinnati? They're the number 3 rushing team in the league. They have the highest average per carry. Pretty much expect them to try to run the ball against you.
As far as learning from the BYU and Houston game is, really just taking advantage of getting off the field. So anytime we have the opportunity to get off the field, we got to do that. There'll be some times where we'll be 3rd and long and, things will happen. So we'll have to just, like I said, execute earlier, like mobile quarterback, non-mobile quarterback, just executing and doing our job.
And for Tristan, where does your family live these days?
They live in Florida now.
They live in Florida, so
Yeah.
it's closer
Yeah.
to Cincinnati than here. Are you going to have more family members at this game than usual? Or?
I wouldn't say more than usual, maybe a couple. I'm very, very fortunate that my family is able to travel to most of the games. So, super, super grateful for that, but definitely excited to be a little bit closer to home. It'll make it easier on them.
When you were in Michigan, what were you told about the state of Ohio? How are you supposed to kind of view the state of Ohio when you're in Michigan now?
I don't know if I want to repeat everything that I was told about the state of Ohio, but just excited to be back in the Midwest and excited for the opportunity.
Tristan, what has it been like working alongside Rhino, and how much has he, influenced just kind of how you're playing right now?
Yeah, I love Rhino. He's a great guy. And then as far as, just us being in practice together, helping each other, I come off the field, I'll ask him a question about, hey, what did you see on this rep? Or even in game, like, hey, what are you seeing here? What do you think? We're watching film together. Like I said, I love Rhino, and getting to work with him every day has been awesome. And I'm super grateful to have him in our room. Been super helpful to me in my development.
And I don't know when we're going to see you next. How would you describe your year at Arizona and just kind of what this experience has been like for you?
For me, it's been great. This is definitely the most fun I've had playing college football in my fifth year now. So super thankful to be here, blessed for the opportunity. I've said it a couple times now, but can't wait to go down to Cincinnati and see what our team's about.
Last one, Michael.
You referenced, Max, the injury situation earlier, and you explained kind of what happened. But what was the why behind that? Why were you so determined to get back out in the field after getting hurt?
He's a dog.
Yeah, I mean, because I could, that's really what it was. If I was able to, then why would I not,
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. All right, we're good to go.
All right, I'll start it off by a little gratitude to our veterans that support our program, that watch this and listen to us. Thank you for all that you've done for our country. I know I'm proud to wake up and get to do what I love because of you, so thank you. And then, regards of last week's game, I was really proud of the way we responded late in that game. And I'm really proud of our defense, of being in a tough situation and getting a critical stop to give us a chance to go win it. And like when you have a quarterback like Noah Fafita, when the ball's in his hands and you got a chance to go win it, he's going to go win it. So I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of our offense. I think that's something we can build on. Now, was the game inconsistent for us offensively? Yes, we were kind of up and down, hot and cold. But at the end of the day, we won, and that's what matters. So there's a ton to improve on, and our guys know that. But we got a lot of momentum in that locker room right now, heading into a top 25 opponent in Cincinnati, that we feel very confident that we can go and compete and have a chance to win. So I'm excited about the week ahead. I think we've had a good practice. We had a good practice today with a lot of intention, a lot of detail, and a lot of discipline and a lot of effort and execution, for a Tuesday practice. So we're right where we need to be. Our kids are fired up about being bowl eligible, but that's not the standard, and that's not what they came here to do. They came here to win every single game they possibly could play. So we got 3 left, and that's their goal, is to win all of them. And it starts this week.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Brian.
Yeah, when you look at your running numbers and you see a game like this last one, where you take out the sacks and you're averaging like 8 yards a carry, and it's like 5.5 per carry when on an actual design run, does it make you wonder, why aren't we able to just do that consistently throughout the game? Is there a situation where you're saying, how do I make this so that we're always doing this and it doesn't just average out?
I think well, part of it's because we're balanced, right? We're able to run the football because we're balanced. So that number is averaged out that way because you're able to throw it. If you're just running it, well, they're going to load the box. That number's not going to be the same, right? So I think, if you're specifically Kansas, the advantage run numbers weren't there. We were always having to make somebody miss at 2 or 3 yards, and we just have really good running backs that did that. Or there was some times where we manipulated the box with the quarterback run game that allowed us to do some things. And so I just think for us to have the success, you got to stay balanced, and you got to threaten them through the air. And there was some times I felt like, we did run the ball where it should have been a better play than it is, and we didn't execute, in the run game early on in that game. So, and there was times where I felt like we were adjusting, and when we made the adjustment, we didn't execute the adjustment. And then by the time I could get back to it, well, they've adjusted, And so I think that's a tough question to answer. But my answer would be okay, we got to stay balanced and be able to throw the ball so we can open up those running lanes. So they have to honor, Noah throwing the football. And I think it's been a good balance for us so far.
So is it fair to say that if those numbers exist that way because of that, if you were just running all the time, it would be very difficult to sustain numbers like that?
Correct. And I think obviously, including Noah in the run game allows that to free up too, like if you don't have quarterback run game nowadays, like it's tough, you know, and especially the way people are playing, especially in our league. I feel like in our league, the defensive schemes are really, really, really top notch and elite, to be honest with you. Like, I think Kansas probably, and I think if you talk to their coaches, might have played their best game on defense if you were to ask them, because they really played well, and they made it extremely challenging for us. And like I said, I felt our kids responded, especially on like times that mattered. You know, like I said, it was hot and cold, but going into halftime, we scored a touchdown. That's a huge, like a clock drive scoring points there is huge. And then coming out of halftime and scoring points, you know, that in that middle 8 period, that was huge. And then obviously getting the ball back late and going and winning it, that was huge. So, like I said, I'm proud of the way our kids responded through like a tough adverse game, because we know we didn't play our best on offense. It wasn't as clean as we wanted it to be. But that's football. It's an imperfect game, you know. And sometimes when you're not playing your best, you still got to find a way to win. And we've talked about that since I've gotten here. Is like when you create a culture and a mentality on offense, not everything's gonna be perfect. Like you're not going to have 500 yards or 400 yards total offense per game. Noah, you're not going to throw for 300 per game. We still got to find a way to win the game. And I was really proud of our kids because we found a way to win.
Justin.
We just talked to Tristan Bounds. What do you make of his season and how he's progressed at right tackle?
Yeah, I mean he's improved tremendously. And, you know, when he got here in the spring, he was a little light, and he wasn't very developed. And it's kind of weird saying that coming from a school like Michigan, where you're thinking, okay, it's like one of the O-line capitals of college football. And when we get him, he's like I said, he's light and he's not very polished, to a point where you're like, okay, I don't know if he'll be a starter for us, but he'd be a great rotational player. And then he kept chopping at it, he kept working at it, and then it got to a point where he got an opportunity because of Rhino still not being available, where he got to play early in games. And early in the season, was he playing at the level he's playing at right now? Absolutely not. There was some times where you felt like almost like he's a liability, but then, again, he just kept getting more confident. He kept playing through it. He kept trusting the preparation, trusting the coaching, and then next thing you know, he's one of our better linemen. You know, I think it's another example of how Coach Oglesby does such a good job of development. I mean, that guy he's really, really good at what he does. And those kids love him. And so Tristan Bounds will hang on every single word that Josh Oglesby will say. And because of that, he's gotten 10 times better. And now he looks like he belongs in the Big 12.
What was the turning point for him?
I think playing in real games, in my opinion. Like when he plays, like I think that confidence is such a unique thing when it comes to like performance, in my opinion. And there's so much you can do of practice. Like I've been around really good practice players, but all of a sudden they get into a game and it's just like, where are you? But also in the same token, a guy that hasn't played as much gets into a game and starts playing well. Well, obviously his confidence shoots through the roof, and now he's telling himself, instead of like, can I play? Oh yeah, hell yeah, I can play. I can do this. And so the next thing you know, he's starting to trust a little bit more of the coaching fundamental. He's starting to trust his pad leverage a little bit more. He starts trusting his pass set a little bit more, knowing like, okay, I don't have to worry about getting beat because I've proved to myself that I've won. And I think that's where he's at. I think he's got a ton of confidence in himself, and I think he's got a ton of confidence in our staff and in Coach Oglesby and what we're doing. So, I'm very proud of that kid.
Jason.
Thoughts overall on Cincinnati and the challenges they present?
Obviously their scheme is very. We've played something very similar in Iowa State, and we didn't have a ton of success, right? So that's going to be a challenge. That's the one game that we had a little bit of a hiccup, and so we got another opportunity to go after it. I think they're big up front, very big and strong. And then I think their linebackers are long. They got a couple linebackers that are 6'4". They got a lot of length. I think their back end again is like, because of what they do, and they ask those guys to fit so hard. They're extremely good at the run fits, and they're very physical downhill. And I think their corners, as much as you would say like, oh, they're only 5'8" or 5'9", whatever they are, but they got something in their neck, man. They're going to compete and they're going to challenge you. So it's a very, very, very stout defense that's good at what they do. Like, again, it reminds me of Iowa State, and that guy's from Iowa State, so obviously he's bringing that blueprint over to Cincinnati. They don't do a ton, but they do enough that present challenges that we're schematically you got to have answers for. And they're good at what they do, and obviously they're believing at a high level, and they're playing at a high level. So we got a unique challenge in front of us, but I know our guys are excited and ready to go compete, and that's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about recovery. We've been talking about doing the unrequired, the extra, the in between to make sure that we're ready to go take on a top 25 opponent and score a lot of points doing it. So I'm excited about the week. I'm excited about our prep. Like I said, I thought today was a good first step in the direction that we want to go. I think it would have been easy after, winning or getting bowl eligible. Everybody's kind of patting everybody on the back saying, "Oh, you guys made a bowl when nobody thought you could." But that's not what these guys, especially Tristan, guys like that, came here to do. They came here to win as many games as possible and get in the best bowl game as possible. So I'm excited about the mentality that we have, and we got to keep attacking this week so we can put our best performance on Saturday because they are a talented defense.
Mike?
Follow up to Brian's question about running the ball. Do you have a number, a percentage in mind when you go into a season or go into a game? I want to run the ball 45% of the time, or is it totally dependent on personnel, matchups, all of that?
It's personnel, matchups, and feel of the game. How are we running it? And then, what are they going to give us? They giving us easy throws, or are we protecting well? All that kind of comes into mind when it comes to, whether or not you should run it or throw it. And then at the same token, I got a special quarterback, so I'm not just going to take the ball out of his hands either. I think we've done a great job of being balanced, and so a lot of that, like you said, has a lot to do with going into a game, figuring out where our best matchups are, figuring out what can we where can we execute, where are their weaknesses, where can we attack, where can Noah be his best at, and then what gives us the best advantage from a box standpoint from numbers, and then we go attack it that way, and a lot of it is adjustments and feel on game day too.
Obviously getting home a lot with their edge blitzes in this last game, sometimes even with their four-man rush. Were you tempted during that game to be like, hey, maybe we should run the ball a little bit more to try to negate that?
Well, I think what you're referring to is there was a couple looks that they had, non-scouted looks, where they basically five up the O-lineman, had two edge pressures that wasn't scouted, so we didn't have an answer for that. So the first time we ran it, we ID'd it as we ID'd it, and we were short one. So Noah got hit. We go back to the sideline, we adjust. That's actually the same look that we scored on at the end of the game. So we adjusted. We knew what we were doing. And there was a couple sacks where we just mis-ID'd a couple things, right? Like it wasn't like, oh no, they did something crazy. We just mis-ID'd it. And we cut some guys free. That's part of like the execution. That's part of the accountability that some of our players got to take. But we did do some. There was a couple times. Obviously that first time they did hit us. I mean, that's on us because we didn't have an answer. We'd never seen it. We ID'd it as we ID it, but with what they were doing, we needed to adjust and make the ID different. And it allows the backs rules, and we could have protected it. Okay, there was another one on third down late in the first drive, or the first drive out of the second half, where they kind of have an overload pressure to our man side that we didn't get it communicated to whip it or to ID it, low it, whatever you want to say, back into the boundary to put our slide side there. We would have protected that one too. But there was a motion, and they kind of had a weird look up front, and that was something that we weren't prepared for. So they got us on two. The rest of them, I think, like I said, there was a miss-ID on one sack. I think we just got beat one time. Man-to-man just got beat one time on a sack. And so, we gave up a couple pressures, but I wasn't super concerned with like, oh, no, we got to get away from it. You with me? I think that's the only way. We did hit some explosives, but again, like because I kept trying. Like there was a couple times we gave up sacks. That would have been touchdowns. They'd have been touchdowns. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got to come back to that because that's a touchdown. And so I thought, my normal behavior is to stay aggressive. And I felt like if I can stay aggressive, that gives us the best chance. I thought we did a good job of leaning on the run game late. But because of what we did early, allowed me to lead on the run game late and gave us advantage.
Troy.
When looking at road games, Noah's played very well in the last two, Houston, Colorado. What do you think are the keys for him to start off strong and the offense to start off on the right note in Cincinnati playing another road game this season?
That's right. I think when he started playing well is when he started really trusting, what we do and how we do things. And I think if you look back at the Kansas game, he missed a couple, in my opinion, like throws that he normally doesn't miss. And that was because I thought maybe he might be overthinking at times again. And that's the only time he ever gets in trouble is he starts trying to process the coverage, what they're doing, how they're rotating, like where is this going to go? It's like, no, you trust your progression, you go through your reads. And when he does that, he's brilliant, and you guys know that. So, and then now, with all that being said, his warrior mentality and his heart is the only reason we won that game, right? Because of the way the presence that he has and the command that he has in the huddle to go say, and Danny will tell you this because Danny told me the story because he's on the field and I'm in the box. But when they had a chance to go get a stop, Noah's the one that came up to him and said, "Give me the ball back. We're going to score. We're going to win this game." And that's the type of leader you want. And in the last couple of road games, the reason he's played so well is because, man, he preps the right way. He preps the right way. He practices the right way. He doesn't miss throws in practice. And then when he goes out there on game day and he trusts his prep and he trusts his rhythm and he trusts his footwork and he trusts his progression and he trusts his teammates, well, now he's special. And so that's what I expect him to do the same every single week.
Last one, Justin.
So their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby's a Dallas guy. Are you familiar with him, and what do you think about him as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's a stud. When I watch him in crossover, he's playing at a high level. He moves around well. He's got a really live arm. He can throw from different platforms. They do a lot with him with the run game as well, moving him off his spot. And then I have a story. I was actually out of work. I got let go at Bowling Green. And what that had been 27 or 17 or 18, I can't remember. And I was interviewing for a D2 OC job at the time. And so at the time, I'm thinking I'm going to take this job. So I start looking at quarterbacks, like uncommitted quarterbacks. And Sorsby doesn't have an offer because he didn't play his senior year. I think he got hurt his junior year. I know he didn't play maybe 3, 4 games his senior year. So nobody really knew about him because he was kind of a late bloomer. Well, and then all of a sudden, I get a job at USC because Graham gets a job. He hires me as an analyst. So, I'm just kind of keeping up on my phone on where Sorsby's going to go. And next thing you know, he starts popping offers. You know what I mean? But you could see it on the tape in high school, like the limited tape that he had. Like he was kind of a freak. You know what I mean? Just a late bloomer, kind of like John Mateer a little bit. And so some of those guys just kind of fall through the cracks just because, as a sophomore, and I think that's just quarterback recruiting 101, or not 101, but just like in general, is there's times as a sophomore, a kid's just not ready. You with me? But that kid that's ready as a sophomore doesn't progress as much through up until the senior year. And then obviously Brandon Sorsby, John Mateer, when they're seniors, are ready. And they've gotten 10 times better. And so they've progressed. So I think sometimes when it comes to quarterback recruiting, you can get on a guy early because you think he's ready as a sophomore. Well, he doesn't progress as much. Maybe he's hit his ceiling. And then there's a guy like Sorsby that's like, okay, he wasn't ready as a sophomore. By the time he's a senior, he's a freak. And so I think, some of those guys that don't have quarterbacks late in the recruiting process get lucky on those guys because, okay, I don't have a quarterback yet. I got to find one. Well, all of a sudden you go to Dallas and there's this kid that everybody's talking about that nobody's offered that's a freak, And so I think he can play. I think Danny has said it before. He's probably the best quarterback that they've played this year. And he's gonna present some challenges for them. So we're excited. We're excited to compete with him.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seth.
Yep.
All right. All right, I'm going to double down with Seth. The Veterans Day today. Special day for everybody that's an American. Really, you should appreciate it. What people give up for the opportunities to live the freedoms that we have. My father went to Vietnam in '69, spent 9 months there. My father-in-law was stationed in Germany during Vietnam, and my brother-in-law served. What those guys give up for us to have the abilities to live everyday life that we do and complain about everything that we have and all those things. Just a special, just a ton of gratitude towards them. And anybody that served that gives us the opportunities we have. And we get the right to complain about the opportunities we have because of those people. So very blessed and very thankful. I'm going to mention something. I get a lot of messages about this shirt. Okay. Sean Kennelly made this shirt for me. I asked him to put it together. This is a Sean friggin' all of his own. You can't buy it. He made it. And they should sell it. Hell, I told him, let's market this thing and put it together because I'm super proud to where we live right now. And the amount of people that are in our program that are behind the scenes that nobody knows. I mean, Lauren Vossler just got selected as Employee of the Month for the athletic department. And what she does is fantastic because the coaches and players, they don't have to worry about anything. It's taken care of. We get to the hotel, everything's taken care of. We get on a plane, everything's taken care of. We get on a bus, like nothing's ever late. It's the food, I mean, it's amazing. Tim Cummings in our video department. I mean, we always have computers. Once we get on the plane, we can watch the tape. Geronimo downstairs, I mean, he did an amazing job with Max. I mean, created a Willis Reed story. I mean, unbelievable. Those guys had no idea who Willis Reed was too, by the way, so really dating myself. Some of you, do you all know who Willis Reed is, please? Okay, thank God. I'm Troy? You good? Okay, thank goodness, okay? 1970, I mean, you can hold Wilt Chamberlain to 4 points with a torn thigh muscle, like you're pretty dang special, okay? The amount of people that Coach B, I mean, Ben Thien is our chief of staff, the amount of people that Geiska and Fletch, the amount of people that Coach B has put in the proper position to run this football program and to give us the opportunities to have success. And then how exciting is this? It's November 11th, and our men's basketball team just beat Florida, and now they're ranked in the top 5 on one poll, 6 in another. And on the Spears and Ali show this morning, they're talking about football. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, we got a big game in the month of November. And I'm going to double down on Coach Shear. Like, everybody was saying on Saturday, this is Arizona football. Like, we're going to screw this thing up. And guess what? We didn't. The narrative of this is Arizona football, we're going to change that narrative to being a positive when that statement is said. Because our kids fought their tails off on Saturday. We can talk about the game a little bit. And this is kind of funny stuff early on. So, first series for us, and I'm not going through every series. I'm just going to give you a little Cliff Notes deal. But this is the very first play of the game. They come out in 11T, which is they have 11 personnel tied on the field, and they bring an extra lineman out. Okay, and we call a defense that all week long we practice against this formation, and the couple plays that they run out of it, and like, okay, it should be 2nd and 9. It's 2nd and 1. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not good. Well, second play we stop them, we hold them to 1 yard gain. Actually, you lose a half a yard. So it's 3rd and short, which we've been really good on all year. And you have a couple of, like, I can go to this and I know this is going to work unless we lose dirty eye or something like that. So we call the defense on 3rd and short that should be stopping for 0 or negative, and they hit 4. So as a play caller, you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, I just went to the well, like to my good ones, and they're friggin' moving the ball, so it's going to be great. Like, okay, we're going to have to make some serious adjustments now. Well, on the next one, of that same set of downs, they run the quarterback run with Tay Brown, sits on the edge and chases Jalen Daniels to the sideline. And I knew right then and there, like, we're going to be fine. Like, the quarterback run's going to be fine. Tay did a great job coming around the edge. Jalen tried to outrun him and couldn't. And so I was giving Tay Brown, and my comment to the defensive guys on the side, I'm like, hey, we're fine. Tay Brown ran him down. Not because Tay Brown's slow, but that's how it came out, and they all kind of started chuckling and laughing. But Tay Brown played his freaking tail off, okay? So we get them to punt, and then we gave them momentum. Now, give Kansas credit. They fought their tails off, and I think Jalen Daniels is a freaking stud. But we have them on 3rd and 5 after we punted the ball out of our end. It's the 46-yard line. We have them on 3rd and 5. We miss a tackle, and we miss an assignment. And they pop it down to the 20-yard line and gave them life. They put the ball in a couple of plays later, and all of a sudden it's 7-7. And then they go out and stop us, and the first time all year, we get hit on a screen. It was a tight end screen. They did a great job schematically because we have guys on when we send certain blitzes, There's guys that are responsible for the screen. There's guys responsible for the back. Like on the very first third down, we don't peel. On the next one, they do a great job of double teaming our guy that's supposed to sit for the screen. Pops for 20 yards. And then we get beaten man coverage. And Javion Cole's in a good spot. Arm goes a little bit like this instead of driving through. I mean, it's that fast. And we tell our kids all the time, like, we're going to give up some plays because they got Division I athletes that make money and are on scholarship too. And that was a great shot. McPherson was friggin', I mean, that was a money ball by Jalen. And so now we're down 14-7. They get the next possession and they kick the field goal at 17-7. And I talk about all the time on defense, we do things different. And so during the week, we have to take a guess at how they're going to attack us. And they give Coach Dombrowski a lot of credit. They did a couple good things that I thought were really good. And we were able to make adjustments on the sideline. And I thought our kids did a fantastic job of changing some of the things that we changed. For the rest, from that point on, with 5 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the second quarter, we gave up 3 points and 183 yards. I mean, they played their tails off. Now, the third down early on in the first half, they were 3 of 6. From that point on, they were 3-11, and I thought that was the difference in the game. The 3 third downs they converted in the second half, it was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 1, and 3rd and 4. And one of the 3rd and ones, debatable whether or not they got it, in my opinion. The next one, they beat us on play action, which that should have never happened because we were calling play action on sideline. But you get so intense and they're having success moving the ball in tiny pieces. You get aggressive, your eyes get dirty for 1 second, and all of a sudden they complete a 20-yard pop. And then Myron Robinson did a fantastic job on the 3rd and 9. Jalen scrambles, hits him short, and that's the big debate on whether they should have went for it on 4th down. I was kind of hoping they would because they'd gone 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. And I mean, they were eking those things out, and I think that confidence level gets shattered as you continue to do that. Now, when we knock Jalen Daniels out of the game, and you can't come back in off a timeout, which is correct, that rule is so that a guy can't go down to stop the clock, or you save a timeout, and then you can put him right back in. They have to sit out a full play. One, they have to be cleared by the doctors if it's a head thing, but 2, they have to sit out a full play if they are injured. Okay, Myron got a great lick on him and caused a fumble, and it was almost like shades of BYU again. We don't get on it. Now, the field goal, I mean, the dude was 13 of 13 on the year after he made the one against us. Coach Niver does a fantastic job, and I say this all the time, that you can tell how hard a defense plays by how their field goal team plays, their field goal block, because that play is an easy play to take off after you give up a touchdown or a field goal or a long series, and our guys come like freaking crazy. And Javion Cole did a great job with the scheme that Coach Niver called on that one. I mean, he's this far from blocking it, but because we had been close on both extra points and the previous field goal, if he kicks it where that ball is going to be good, it's blocked. And we probably have a chance to scoop and score. And he knew the pressure was coming from the side, and it affected the kick. And all of a sudden, that thing sails a little bit right because of the pressure we were getting from the field. And I thought the momentum on that that's a 4th down stop. It's fantastic. The momentum on that is unbelievable. And then give Coach Doege and Noah a ton of credit. I mean, you opened up the series with a quarterback play and a run, and he got smoked on the one that everybody thought it was targeting. And I hate that rule, so I was kind of glad they didn't call it because I hate it when they call it, but might have been, who knows. But Noah's a freaking savage. And then for Coach Doege to call those 2 plays, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, and so Noah came up to me on the sideline and was adamant, like, just give me a stop. Give me a stop and we're going to win this dang game. And that was the belief on our sideline the entire second half. And so we went that from 5 minutes and 21 seconds till the end of the game, giving up 3 points. I thought our adjustments were really good by our players, and I thought they were really physical in the second half. And how about that? You win a game in November, that means something. Now, that bowl game thing is great. I mean, that's fantastic, but we don't want to win 6. We want to win 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, we still have a chance to be the 5th team. And the 122nd team, the University of Arizona, has 4 guaranteed left, okay? There's scenarios that I saw Coach Shear on Twitter put out there to make magic happen and, like, put a 21-game parlay on that and see how much money you win if that thing works out, okay? Which betting is illegal still, so our guys can't do it. But how about that? Like, that's a great opportunity on November 11th. So, really proud of where we're at on defense. We're still top 10 in yards per play, 17th in total. I mean, statistically, when I sat up here in March and I made the statements I made. Now, we still got 4 games to finish this thing out and to continue to climb, in my opinion. But nobody believed it. So I'm super proud of our football team, super proud of our football players, especially on our side of the ball, and the rhythm that our offense has been able to get to. So we get an opportunity to go play a road game and the Big 12 game in mid-November. That's important. So.
Thank you, Coach. Start with Brian.
Yeah, when Coach Doege was kind of bringing it up before about Kansas had done some plays or some alignments that they hadn't seen. This late in the year, is there still value to like bringing out stuff that you haven't tried, or do you just like this far into the season you want to go with what works best?
It's a combination of both. It's really, especially with what we do defensively, when we have a team Cincinnati's had 2 weeks to prepare. Those teams typically have a lot better chance of the complexity because, a lot of people compare what we do to the triple option side of it. And when you have 14 days to prepare for the triple option, you're going to have a better chance if you schematically have an idea how to stop it. What we do, we haven't changed a ton because we've had success. Our 2 nose tackles lined up over the center. It's given people more problem than I anticipated early on, so we've stuck with that a lot. Some of the movement pieces, but like I said, they've had 2 weeks to work on it. So the hard part of that is you can completely screw your kids up if you try and do too much schematically in a short time. And we haven't had 2 weeks.
On that same end, does that mean that when you are scouting them, you have to assume that there's probably some new coming?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and plus, do you know who they play next week? They do. Which is really, that's 2 of the top 3 teams in our league. They're both sitting at 7-1 in league or 6-1, whatever it is. So they, with 2 weeks, oftentimes coaches, especially if they can do some stuff, because BYU and us and BYU have some similarities in some of the things we do. So they can do some new things and see if it works this week and have it ready for next week. I hope they're worried about BYU. Coach Satterfield's not like that. He's a very, really, really good staff. So.
What's your scouting report on a guy like Brendan Sorsby, and what do you take away from the previous games against a quarterback like that?
Best quarterback we played. And leadership skills, there's talk about him being a first-round pick, which are viable. The dude doesn't make very many mistakes. He's thrown 2 interceptions on the year. One of them hit a O-lineman in the helmet, and the other one was in the very first game against Nebraska late. He's really particular with what they do offensively. He never gets them in the wrong play. He's similar to Rocco Becht, probably more athletic, can run. He's got some moves in the open field that if he has space, can really hurt you. They're 25th in the country in rush offense, 31st or 56th in pass offense, 56 total, 31st pass offense. They do everything, and they do it elite. Cyrus Allen, that dude's a 10 300-meter kid that he's throwing it to out in the slot, and they can line him up on both sides, so they'll try and find matchups, and they do a great job of that, moving around and putting them in the best matchup just to run straight by people. Okay, I think their 2 running backs are super physical. Now, I thought the Henshaw and them did a great job on Saturday, so I think they're very similar styles to those guys. Royer is very much just like the Houston tight end. He's like a big old giant wide receiver. It's the best receiving core we played. It's the best quarterback we played. And their O-line does a great job of creating space and gaps for those guys to hit, and then they do a great job of protecting Sorsby. He's only been sacked twice on the year. So it's a humongous challenge for our entire football team, and I cannot wait till Saturday.
Michael.
You referenced the sack total. That's the fewest of any team in the country. Why do you think that is, and how do you crack the code?
One, I think the O-line does a great job. They don't make a ton of mistakes in identifying where pressures are coming from. And then Sorsby, if they leave somebody hot, he knows who it is, and he knows when he has to get the ball out. And plus, he's elusive. There's been, just like the one that Tay Brown had a chance on Jalen Daniels in the third quarter a free runner at the quarterback to get a sack, and Jalen makes a miss. Sorsby does a ton of that. I mean, there's a ton of clips on tape where they should have had him dead to rights, and all of a sudden he comes out the back end. The thing about him is when he comes around the corner, his eyes are always downfield looking into the second and third option. So before he's going to tuck it and run when he's dangerous, he's still looking, trying to beat you with his arm. So the identification from the O-line and then his feel back there, it's like he has eyes in the back of his head. So we're going to have to come from different angles and see if we can catch him off guard. It hasn't been easy. I mean, like I said, 2 on the season.
The toughness of Max Harris and then the ability of Myron Robinson to come in there and do what he did on Saturday, just how important those 2 guys are.
Got a great story on that one. One, we take a lot of pride on defense of being as tough as you can be, and I think we have a really tough football team. And Tia and Max were the first 2 defensive guys that we had to go get off the field this year. Trey Smith tore his rotator cuff. Nobody knew he was hurt until they took him in. Tore against Weber State. It's a high ankle sprain. Got off the field. Nobody knew he was hurt until they see him walk into the locker room. We got a penalty on one because Mac's shoulder, or maybe it was hip, I don't even remember. He had to get off the field, so he's running off the field. We sent another one. They didn't sub. They saw it. That's probably my fault because we have a rule in our room. If you're almost dead, we'll come and get you. Outside of that, you get your tail to the sideline. And so when Max was down the first one early, I knew something was seriously wrong. Went out there, and my deal is, I'm number one thing in my life is my faith. Prayed him over a little bit, talked to him, let Geronimo do their work. And when I got over there, neither one of those guys had ever been really hurt in a game before, Tia or Max. And the first time you get hurt and somebody rolls on you, or it's as violent as both of them were on tape, like the fact that Max came back in the game is unbelievable. And maybe he has a little bit of Gumby in him because of the way that thing bent, like unbelievable. And so I thought he was done. Myron's in there, and then Geronimo comes back up and says, "Hey, Max is up." And I'm like, "Max who?" And he was like, "Max Harris is fine." I'm like, "All right, we'll see about that." So I'm looking over at Max, and he's giving me the thumbs up. Tia the same way. Tia, tough as hell, and he got pinned underneath the pile, and if you look on it, it's pretty gruesome. He's got a little bit of Gumby to him too. Hopefully Tia will be back sooner rather than later. Myron Robinson, and you have to be very careful with true freshmen because you can ruin a true freshman if he ain't ready. And unfortunately, Myron missed the majority of fall camp, or all of fall camp, and wasn't ready and really practicing with us until the Iowa State week. And so his development was hindered, just the time and reps. I mean, the amount of reps that you can get during fall camp that he missed out on. So you have to give Myron a ton of credit because from the time he got here in June, he spent a ton of time up in the office with Coach Brengel or myself, trying to make sure that he knew exactly what to do. And when the moment happened on Saturday, I mean, he's gotten a little run here and there and has been productive and made plays. Didn't feel he was quite ready for the big time. Well, Saturday, I probably still wasn't 100% positive. He was ready, and he got out there, and 7 tackles. 2 of the tackles he made on Jalen Daniels were significant line-saving tackles that would have been significantly bigger gains than they were. And then the one that he caused, he knocked him out of the game, whether they go for it on 4th down or not. They get that. They probably win the football game if they go for it. So, fantastic. And I think the best part of that deal, and what a leadership role and what a leader Max Harris is, 39 seconds to go in the game, we just scored. And I went over to Max as we're getting ready to talk, and I said, "Hey, I need you to be honest with me right now. Like the last series in space, it didn't look tremendous, and I know your knee's hurting and you're tired." And I said, it's you or Myron. And his first initial contact was like, "Coach, I'm good." And I just stared at him right in the eye, and he goes, "Coach, put Myron in." Like, I trust him. He knows what to do, and it's the best thing for our team right now. And Myron did a great job. He got the 15-yard penalty, and that for a true freshman to stay composed when a guy does whatever happens to him on the football field, and for him not to lose his cool and do something silly and get it offsetting or something. And then with 39 seconds left, on Thursdays we do 2-minute drills all the time. And every offensive coordinator I've ever been around They set the stage of you've got a minute 51, you've got 2 timeouts, this is the most unrealistic stuff ever. And we go out there on Thursday, last Thursday, in the situation with 51 seconds, no timeouts, and they're back on their 25-yard line. And I'm laughing at Seth. I'm like, you're like the most realistic offensive coordinator ever, because that's most of the time the situation. Well, it was 39 seconds from the 25-yard line with 2 timeouts. And so I don't believe in playing prevent because I think it prevents you from winning. So we were 4-man rush up until the Hail Mary of some kind with a zone blitz of some kind. But I also told those guys, if they throw the ball over the middle, let them catch it, tackle their tail. Unless you can intercept it, let them catch it, tackle them. Because force them to use their timeout so they can't set up a Hail Mary, and then just don't give up anything big. If we give up intermediate routes, they got 39 yards on that series, which kills us in this national statistics. But the object is to win the damn game. And they did a fantastic job. And then on the Hail Mary, Dalton and Jen did it exactly like you were. And the best one of that group that did their job was Myron Robinson. A true freshman boxing his guy out. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable for him to step up like that. So that was a long answer there, Coach Shear, for Myron Robinson. But super proud of the kid.
Troy.
Looking at Trading Stooks, 3 pass deflections, but the big one I think was over the middle of the field on the right.
3rd and 5.
Diving for that. Just the not development of him, but the progression that you've seen from the beginning of the year to now, and just what he means to this football team.
He means everything for us in the secondary. We're second in the country in pass efficiency defense and 7th in passing yards allowed because of Dalton, Jen, and Stooks. Now we get a 4-man rush and we can get pressure, which is astounding to that. But those guys, and AG and Mike and Boog, those guys have covered their tails off. And the play that Trading Stooks made on that corner route, so we're playing a form of quarters, which means those guys are reading the 1 and 2 verticals, and if he gets vertical, you've got no middle safety. So the coaching point, and this is really all chalkboard talk. Squeeze the post, speed turn to the corner route, which is almost impossible to do, but it sounds really good and it works on the papers, and you can make a lot of money going to all these clinics and stuff. And so now we're going to make even more money because we got Trading Stooks doing it twice on film, so you can actually do it. Trading Stooks can do it anyway. But he made himself some money on that play because he squeezes the post perfectly, and if he throws the post, he's going to intercept it. Anderson makes a move out to the side. His speed turn was fantastic, and the amount of ground that he covered to make that play. When they threw that ball, if it's not Trading, I'm probably thinking they're going to catch it. I was hoping he was going to intercept it, and he's got those long levers, and he made a great play. Like the very first 3rd down of the game, I thought that was going to be a pick 6 to get off the field, and he could have. But he was really smart in the fact of, coach, it was 3rd down. I wasn't going to take a chance of him catching it, and then we give them momentum. And so he knocked it down. And we got off the field, punted, and he's made himself some money. I knew after the sack against Kansas State, and Trading only played 7 plays that night, that Trading Stooks was going to be just fine. You have to get hit or hit somebody after a leg injury like he had to realize, everything's okay. And I was kind of hoping he was going to get the crap knocked out of him, but he knocked the crap out of somebody. And because when you get the crap knocked out of you and you get up, it's like, oh, okay. But he was able to do it himself, which was fantastic. So, he's unbelievable.
Last one, Michael.
So Zach Sealupper's played a little bit
Yep.
for you guys, and with Tia being questionable, do you feel like maybe you need him or that he could be part of the rotation? Is he ready for that?
He's ready for some. He's very similar to Myron because he got here so late. He knows what to do. He can go in spurts. And when you have a 403-pound nose guard, you've got somebody that can't be moved. You have to put him in the right situations that he can be successful and make sure that it's the best situation for your football team. He played 3 snaps against Houston and did a fantastic job. Did some really good things against Colorado. And you see, he ran 17.5 miles an hour the other day at 400 pounds. That's freakish. And so making sure that he can go more than 3 or 4 plays and the way we play and the expectation that we have, Zach is going to be a freak. Now, we got 4 games to play. The one bowl game doesn't count towards all that stuff. We're not trying to redshirt Zach Sealupper. If he helps our football team win games, he's going to be in there. If he doesn't, he won't. And so, and he's all for it. And so continuing to progress him where he's at right now, when he's gonna love me and love me now, or hate me now, love me later, because once this football season is over, Me and Zach are going to have a morning 5 a.m. date every day. We're going to eat lunch together. We're going to eat dinner together. My wife's going to get tired of having Zach sleep up at the house because that dude gets down to 340 pounds, and he's going to be a freak. He's already a freak at 400 pounds. So Zach's got a bright future, and I can't wait to continue to see his development. And my wife's the one that'll actually be the nice one to him and make sure he's okay.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Bear down.